Dr. Gowri Gopalakishna. She is an epidemiologist and a mixed methods methodologist with broad public and private health experience. Over the past couple of years here in the Netherlands, she was featured in various media on issues around the impact of speed science during the COVID crisis, open science and research integrity. And of course, you all know her because she was the lead investigator on the Dutch National Survey of Research Integrity, one of the world's largest and most comprehensive surveys on research integrity. So it's a pleasure to have her here. Gowri, one question before you start. In your experience, has Lex ever missed an email from you or not responded or only partially responded to an email from you?
I can safely say never, ever.
There you go. The floor is yours.
So give me a second here. I've got to figure out my slides, which I just had. For some reason have disappeared. Right. Okay. So I thought I'd start by sharing a little anecdote and a funny coincidence of how I first met Lex, which was online 4 years ago, while I was in a remote part of Thailand, teaching a group of Thai ministry officials of outbreak investigation and control. Little did I know that 4 years on, we'd be facing an unprecedented pandemic, which brought into spotlight our work on research integrity and research quality. And I remember Lex saying then that life is a funny way of bringing things together. So no doubt it's been a privilege of having worked with you on this ambitious project and to speak today at this symposium. The Dutch National Survey on Research Integrity was designed with two goals. Firstly, to determine how frequently 3 different research behaviors were occurring in academia in the Netherlands. But secondly, and most importantly, to understand the so-called bottom of the iceberg, so to speak. And that is, which associative explanatory factors may be behind these behaviors. The survey had a response rate of 21%, and roughly that relates to 7,000 respondents who answered the survey. The main results can be found in 2 of our main publications. For the purposes of my talk today, I've decided to focus on the explanatory variables we found to be important in the analysis, since these are the most relevant when it comes to what research institutions can and should do to promote research integrity. In summary, this slide shows you the main factors that we found to be associated with QRPs and/or misconduct. What you see in green were the factors that were associated with a lower likelihood of questionable research practices and/or misconduct, and those in red associated with a higher likelihood of engaging in undesirable research practices. Now, what we did was that we took these results back to the researchers of different disciplinary fields and academic ranks, as well as the policy advisors of the supporting institutions of the Dutch National Survey. And we conducted a series of intensive work sessions. The idea here was to try to understand how we could translate these survey findings into implementable institution-level or beyond actionable initiatives. And this that you see here is the wish list of translating the NSRI findings into implementable actions at the institution level. First, a balanced and diverse assessment criteria, and the how was mentioned in terms of stopping metric and funding-only recognition, to recognize societal outreach, education, and supervision that researchers may engage in their daily practice. Second, to promote awareness and training on research integrity. And one of the main ways that was cited was by making research integrity education mandatory in the education of researchers. Thirdly, to cultivate an open and safe research culture. Some of the examples cited by researchers were to stop the shaming and silencing culture in research, to increase the visibility in the reporting of questionable research practices, and to learn from ex-academics. Next, to reduce the pressure and competition on individual research and to focus on team science. And here, increasing funding for teams and institutions was also recommended. Supervision and mentoring, no doubt, came in as well, rewarding good supervision and supervisors and providing training, which one of my next speakers will speak on. And finally, to reward open science practices. Some ways suggested was supporting registered reports as a way of encouraging open science pre-registrations, but also requiring pre-registration for funding. So this probably comes as no surprise to many of you here, but I also believe that it is heartening to know that we are moving in the right direction. My talk today is about using the Dutch National Survey on Research Integrity as a case study on what research performing organizations can do to support research integrity. And to that end, I have chosen to put a spotlight on one of the supporting universities in the NSRI, which was the University of Maastricht. And full disclosure here, I have a clear vested interest in giving them the spotlight, given that they will be my future employer. Nevertheless, I do hope it is a spotlight which is well-deserving that you will agree with me at the end of my presentation when it comes to institutional dedication to research integrity, and one worth highlighting as an example of what research performing organizations can do to support research integrity. So to start with, the university has a dedicated research ethics and integrity platform, which is separate from the traditional faculty ERBs, and the Scientific Integrity Committee that is focused on the more punitive side of research integrity. Broadly speaking, University of Maastricht's institutional approach to research integrity can be looked at from 4 aspects. First, on governance, the platform's chair has regular meetings with the faculty and the university board to ensure alignment on research integrity issues across the university. And there are plans at the moment to put in place an institutional research integrity promotion plan. On dedicated staffing roles, besides the confidential counselors and research integrity policy advisors, data stewards are in active presence across all faculties. And the platform itself is represented by the different faculties, which, in my experience with the Dutch National Survey, is something we need more of. That disciplines outside of the biomedical and health fields are brought closer to the discussions on research integrity and open science. Next, on training, the university offers research integrity training across different levels and has included a trial training for supervisors. In addition to that, it has a dedicated PhD track on research ethics and integrity. On tools and resources, the platform is again active in a multidisciplinary manner, organizing different events on research integrity. And last but not least, there is an annual call that is put forward by the platform for projects on research integrity funded by the university. In the short time that I have worked with them on this project, the university and its efforts is an excellent example of what institutions can do to foster research integrity. To close, I think we all in the research integrity community know all too well that there are no quick fixes in improving research quality and the system we currently operate in. But I'd like to leave you a piece of wisdom I recently learned during my travel back to the East, and that is the Japanese practice of Kaizen, which in essence is the practice of taking slow but gradual steps, which will lead eventually to a path of continuous improvement. And a key aspect of that is having champions who fight for the cause tirelessly and with much energy. On that note, I'd like to thank Lex for his dedication and untiring efforts in the field, not forgetting his sense of humor, which on a somber topic like research integrity is much appreciated.
Thanks so much, Gowri. That was brilliant, as always. We have a couple of minutes for questions. Yep, there's a gentleman over there. The microphone is coming to you.
Hi, Nick Allen, University of Essex. I just wondered whether there are any plans to rerun the NSRI at least at institutions where changes are in the pipeline, because this would be very, very interesting to see, as in the Edinburgh example, where at least within the institution there was a follow-up survey. Are there any such plans?
Well, not plans that I know of, although I do know that we would be very interested in hearing from anyone in the audience who would be interested in running the survey, not only in the Netherlands again, but potentially also in other countries. Because I think one of the struggles we've had with the research integrity survey landscape is comparability across different surveys. So we've made our instruments open access, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
Right.
Thank you. Bart Koes from Rotterdam. So my question deals with the training and education of researchers. And I saw that in Maastricht they train PhD students and so on. But you also mentioned separate programs for more seniors. And so how important is that? And where is the gain? Is it more in the new generation of researchers, or is the gain more in the older researchers?
Yeah. Well, I'm perhaps not best placed to speak directly about the experiences on training on University of Maastricht. Maybe someone else in the audience. I know there are many attendees here from Maastricht. But what I can say is that the feedback that has consistently been received, not only from what I've seen about University of Maastricht's training program, but also in my own experience running the Dutch National Survey, is that we need more efforts that are not just bottom up, but that are also top down. So in that light, without hinging too much into what my next speaker might be speaking on, which is on supervision and mentoring, Tamarinde Haver. I'll probably leave that for Tamarinde to expand a little bit on, but I do know that there are different programs, although not consistently applied, which do look at supervisors and inculcating a behavior or also from the top down.
Thanks. Yeah.
Harm Tiddens from Rotterdam.
Oh,
Sorry. Oh.
it was, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, there was another one.
Two microphones. See it, sorry.
Surprise, surprise, 2 microphones. You'll be next.
Ineke Stoop. Yes.
Yes.
I was a member of the...
Please speak closely to the microphone,
Okay.
because apparently online it's
Okay,
hard to hear.
yes.
Thank you.
I'm Ineke Stoop. I was a member of the steering group of the survey, and that was at the end of my research career, and I found it very exciting, and I learned a lot. And that's why I wonder why you say that research integrity is a somber topic.
Well, in my experience, it has been a rather somber topic in terms of getting institutional support. So it's heartening to know from you that you don't see it this way, and I'm sure that I'll be happy to hear from your experiences.
Right, the final question.
Yeah, Harm Tiddens from Rotterdam. And maybe to answer the question on Rotterdam, we actually started a course for principal investigators, because the comments for the courses for PhDs was, why don't the principal investigators attend these kind of courses? And Lex actually participated in putting together this course, and it has run now 4 times and it's highly successful. So I would say copy-paste.
There you go. Thank you so much. Gowri, thank you so much, and congratulations on the new job in Maastricht. And
Thank you.
we will look forward to you continuing the good work that you have been doing here. Thanks so much.